Welcome to this week's mini-episode of Wrestle Erotica. This story is entitled Rousing, Active Woman, and it is written by fanfiction.net user PinkandBlackAttack. What the hell? AJ said, looking for her Divas title. She just gotten finished with the match against Nikki Bella, and couldn't find her Divas title since one of the Total Divas took it with them and made her lose for tonight. She desperately trying to find where her Divas title went. She knew none of the girls took it with them. She knew one of the securities gave it back to her. The title didn't decide to walk off by itself. Maybe it's still by the ring, she said as she walked out the Divas room. She ended up in the empty hallway. She was always the last one to leave whenever she forgot something or talking to her best friend Caitlin. She stepped out to the ring where it was pitch black, where she couldn't see anything, not even her hands. I knew I should have brought my flashlight, she said, as she got down on her hands and knees, feeling around the ring, looking for the title. She crawled and felt around the ring and still found nothing. Damn it, she said. Frustrated, she continued to look for the title when she stumbled upon something. She looks down and smiles as she picks it up, thinking it was her Divas title, but it wasn't. This isn't my Divas title, she said, feeling the object these feel like. One of the light cut back on in the center, startling AJ. She looks at the dim light and saw something very strange in the ring that left AJ speechless. Naomi sat in the corner of the ring with her long black hair hanging down. She still had her black and white top on she had on earlier, but her bottom was discarded. The light was so dim that it made Naomi's eyes darker than her uniform, and had her hand down between her legs, moving her middle finger in and out of her clit. Her eyes were burning through AJ's as she masturbated to herself. The Funkadactyl growled at the Divas champion. The two women been having beef for a while and didn't quite got along with each other. AJ shuddered while looking at the ebony woman fingering herself in and out of herself, not taking her eyes off AJ. The clear liquid squirted out of Naomi's body. She screamed as the clear liquid left her body, coating her legs, her fingers, and her vagina with juices. She slowly slid her hand up to her stomach into her breast and licked and sucked the liquid from her hand. AJ nearly had an orgasm watching the erotic moves of the Funkadactyl. She didn't know how it came down to this, but she ended up getting into the ring with Naomi and remained on her hands and knees. Not a word was spoken between the two women. AJ began to stand up till Naomi said, "No, crawl." AJ shivered as she got back on her knees and crawled to Naomi. She knew that she was in Naomi's control, but in a way she liked it as she stalked by the ebony woman's legs. Naomi tugged on the sleeve of AJ's open shirt, pulling it off over her lover's body. Her lips moved down AJ's spine, her deft fingers releasing the hooks on the bra. AJ shrugged out of it as Naomi stepped closer. Naomi's hands roamed over AJ's belly and breast, squeezing and massaging as her mouth and teeth nipped and tugged AJ's shoulder and neck. AJ sighed in pleasure, leaning back, feeling Naomi's breasts crush against her back. Naomi's hands moved down AJ's belly, her fingertips slipping into the waistband of tight jeans, just teasing her partner for a moment. AJ's body trembled in anticipation. AJ turned the circle of Naomi's arms, facing her gentle, beautiful lover. Her fingertips brushed whiffs of hair from Naomi's cheek, gazing into her partner's deep brown eyes. AJ had no choice but to oblige. She lowered her head and kissed Naomi's lips tenderly. Their lips moved gently against each other, the embrace intimate but not passionate until Naomi snagged AJ's lower lip between her teeth. She sucked softly, rubbing her tongue over AJ's lip. Her fingers glided down AJ's back and over her buttocks. Naomi sat up, stretching up for another kiss, this one deeper and more intimate. Her tongue explored inside AJ's mouth. AJ pulled up Naomi's black and white top, and they broke the kiss long enough for her to remove it. AJ's hands covered Naomi's breasts, feeling the hard pebbles pushing against the center of her palms. Their hips met, the friction of their jeans rubbing together, intensifying their desire. They kissed again, and AJ stooped, lifting her smaller lover into the cradle of her arms. Naomi laughed darkly, looping her arms around AJ's neck. She nuzzled her ear as Naomi carried her the short distance to the ring. Their mouths locked again, and Naomi placed AJ on the bottom without breaking the kiss. She lay over Naomi, her arms on either side of her partner as their mouths explored. The kiss was hungry and intimate. Their arms and limbs were entwined, and it was impossible to tell where one began and the other ended. When AJ finally pulled away from Naomi's mouth and kissed her way down Naomi's chin and throat, Naomi was struggling for breath. Naomi threaded her fingers through AJ's long black hair, holding her head in both hands as AJ licked a puckered nipple. She blew a stream of air over the button, and Naomi moaned softly. She treated the other nipple to the same attention, alternating the teasing motion until Naomi was pulling her hair. She took Naomi's full breast in her mouth, massaging the nipple with her tongue. Naomi groaned, her body moving restlessly. She rocked a little, searching for relief. She finally worked herself free enough to straddle AJ's leg. She lifted her hips and began rocking in a steady motion. Naomi rolled back on her knees, looking down at AJ splayed beneath her. Naomi moaned softly. Naomi's fingernails scraped along AJ's shoulders as she pleaded for release. AJ sat up again and her hands trembled as she tried to open her fly. Naomi attempted to help, and between the two of them, they managed to open the 5 buttons. AJ stood up long enough to remove them, pushing her underwear down at the same time. She settled her body between Naomi's legs, resting in the cradle of Naomi's pelvis. Naomi wrapped her legs around AJ's hips, pinning her lover in place. AJ placed her hands on either side of Naomi's head and began rocking her hips softly. Naomi reached up to hold AJ's breasts as their bodies began to found a rhythm. The sensations built slowly, each forward thrust pulsed inside their bodies, radiating through bellies and legs and breasts. Every nerve ending tingled with the friction their movements created. Naomi gasped and groaned, her head bent back as AJ rode harder and faster. The friction grew slick and fast, and AJ panted with the effort. AJ increased the pace and pressure, her body taut. She tilted her head back, veins rising in her neck and on her forehead. Naomi had lost control of her body. She was thrusting up harder now, twisting and convulsing beneath AJ. AJ knew her lover sung well and bent to cover Naomi's mouth with her own, just as the small woman crashed and cascaded over the precipice into sweet oblivion. Naomi sobbed softly, her body heaving with the effort. AJ bent and tenderly kissed her brow, brushing sweaty strands of hair from Naomi's cheeks and forehead. With a loud scream, AJ climaxed all over the ring, and on Naomi's face as she laid there panting for her breath. Naomi moaned and lapped up the cum and soon cleaned AJ up by lapping up her juices. She grabbed her top and placed it back on, and slid out the ring to put her pants back on. She walked to the other side of the ring and grabbed AJ's title and slid right back into the ring. She looked down at AJ, who was still panting, as she soon sat up. She was expecting a beating from her, but instead she held up the title above AJ. "I will be back to get this," she said, dropping the title in AJ's lap and walking away from the ring, leaving a totally speechless AJ. The end.